Hi, everybody, and welcome to Kendell Lenice Live right here on YouTube. Before we get any further, I want you to do me a favor and subscribe below. It's so important that you do that. So when great content like this show is about to be comes up and it's uploaded, you're able to get the notification first. But thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Kendell Lenice Live. I'm speaking to one of my favorite people. And this show was inspired by a post that he put on Facebook. Now, he's no stranger to Kendell Lenice Live. He is always willing to come on here with me. I'm talking about entrepreneur and authorpreneur Leroy McKenzie Jr. So I don't even want to go any further into an intro before I see your face. Hey, Leroy.
What's up? What's up, lady? What's going on? What's going on?
So Leroy and I have some plans to do some work together and do conferences. And actually, we were going to do them in April, and then COVID hit and everybody was quarantined and shut down. So we didn't. So this is a way that Leroy and I work together until everything is lifted. And almost, Leroy, this is one of the conversations we talked about loosely we were going to do in our workshops or seminars, isn't it?
I think so. It had definitely had to do with relationships. So yeah. So
Yeah.
it would have encompassed this trust and believing.
Yes. All right. So let's just get right to it. So this was the post. Ladies, you asked for, prayed for, and professed for that man. But are you equipped and qualified and ready? Read it again if you have to. So I replied something like, yes, but then the men, it goes for them too. All right, so let's get into it. What provoked you to write that post?
um, I'm trying to think of if I saw something that prompted me, but I believe it was just because usually daily, and it's usually at the end of the day, at the end of the evening, I try to do something that I try to do a post that's either for the fellas, for women, for entrepreneurs, just to get people thinking about certain things. And
Yeah,
I call it my LJ speaks, which
yes,
it's just something that you kind of you get that uncle or aunt that want to tell you the truth. They ain't gonna lie to you. They're gonna give it to you unfiltered. So
right.
it's kind of that kind of thinking that prompts me to post things like that. So I'm usually trying to think of things that I can say or that I want to say. And this happened to be one because I know that I hear a lot of times hear women say, I'm praying for praying for a
Mm-hmm.
man. I'm praying to God for this,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm praying that he has this and he this that and the other. And I started thinking about that very thing. I'm like, you prayed for him, you prayed for him, you asked God for him, but are you really prepared for if God says yes? If God says yes to your prayer, are you ready for that? You saying, Lord, I want this man to be this, and this, and then God gives you this, and this. Are you
Mm-hmm.
ready to take on that man that you say you want? And a lot of times, and like you said, this is for men and for women. But are you ready for that relationship that you ask God for? And
Right,
a lot of times we think we're ready when in actuality we may not be ready. Because I
right.
always remember my pastor saying this, and this was one of the I think it was one of the Bible study classes that one of the Bible study classes he had, or just maybe one of the workshops that we were at that he was doing or whatever. And he asked everybody in the audience. He said, if $200,000 was a person, he said, how many of you would like to make $200,000 a year? So all the hands went up. Everybody's hands went up. Looking to make that kind of money this year. Make that kind of money. So he said, if $200,000 was a person, and they were walking down the street, what would make them want to choose you as that salary, whatever?
Mm.
And And it got, I started, of course, I'm thinking, I'm like, when we think about that, we think we want to style, we think we want to make a certain amount of money, or we think we want a certain lifestyle. We think we want we know we want a particular mate, but are we ready? Are we really ready to handle what it is that we say that we want? That, because that goes actually both ways, because you
Yeah.
say you want this particular kind of man, but the question is, does that particular kind of man want you?
Ooh, 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 ooh.
So
that and that's you know what, and that's hard for a lot of women to
right,
hear,
right,
and I like those thought-provoking and those real questions. I do, Lady Motivator speaks, but then I
right,
do relationships. So I
right.
do REAL relationships because that's for real. So
Yeah.
what makes you want to be marryable, or you think that you're a good catch? Like, why do you think
Right,
that?
right.
And it's challenging that to basically have everybody step up their game and really get introspective into who they are and what they really want. Because if you ask most women what they want in a relationship, they have no clue. They don't know. All they can tell you is what they don't want.
Right, right.
So
Or
when they get something and it's not what they really want, then they're struggling with it because they prayed for certain things, but then someone else walks in, because you meet people where they are.
mhm,
And then someone else walks in and it's like, well, how did you know? You said you didn't want this and this and this, but this person was displaying what you said you don't want. And
mhm,
I think that's what you're attracted to, and that's what attracts, because that's the law of
mhm,
attraction. Even if
yeah,
you're saying, I don't want, I don't want, I don't want, and then when that drink of water comes to you and you're thirsty, you take it, but that's not what you wanted, but that's what you attracted into your life. You know what I'm saying?
but that's a powerful thing that you just said, because here's the thing: not only do words matter, but also our mind, because when we think about certain things, the mind is such a powerful thing that God gave us, because it will it will work towards those things that we say that we want. And in that same respect, like you said, if all I'm thinking about is what I don't want, what I don't want, what I don't want, then my mind starts to work towards those things, like you said, and that space. And what we see, as opposed to, if we were to if we were to say, I know I want this, and this, the mind will start to, it will find itself working towards this, and this, because you'll filter out the things that you don't want.
Yeah.
It'll be like, oh, that's not, it's just like, if I love Oreo cookies, but I don't like licorice, and all I keep saying is, I don't like licorice, I'm more than likely going to be finding the licorice as opposed to the Oreo cookie.
Right.
So it's just I mean, it's the crazy thing of how our minds are geared, where the mind will work towards what it wants. It will go after that. Just like, if you say you want to make $200,000, and you're determined to do that. When you're determined to do that, you'll do the work to get there,
Right.
and your mind will do those things. If I got to get
Right.
up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm getting up at 4 o'clock. I become disciplined in doing those things, and we have
Yeah.
to apply that same kind of mindset to what we want in a relationship, or what we want in a mate. If I want
Right.
that type of person, here's the thing: I want that kind of person, but am I working to be that kind of person?
Come on now. Come on
And
now.
that's a lot of times, unfortunately, and you probably know more of this than me, because you work with individuals as far as this realm goes. But they don't ask. A lot of women, they can tell you what they don't want, what they want in someone else, but
Yeah.
they can't tell you what they bring to the table. And a lot of times
Come
that
on.
question isn't asked of them. What are
Yeah.
you bringing to the table? What is it
Yeah.
that you have to offer that person that you say you want?
Yeah. My husband must know we're talking about relationships. So viewers, if it paused, he was trying to FaceTime me. So it paused for a moment a couple of times. I didn't say nothing yet. I didn't say nothing. Pausing. And I had to text him like, I'll FaceTime you later because it's pausing it. But it's so true. A lot of people don't know what they bring to the table. Right. And that's all also about really women knowing their worth. Mm-hmm. And knowing, you know what, that's amazing. You bring that to the table. And also because of past baggage and past experience from other men, perhaps, that said, maybe you're not this, you're not that, you're too this, you're too that. Right. And now they're a little shaky on, well, is this an attribute to bring to the table? Is this something good to bring to the table? Mm-hmm. Now they're unsure. So I think folks' baggage messes them up from really seeing their worth and seeing who they are. Because I believe everyone brings something to the table, but it's all about what do you value and mm-hmm. what do you find valuable about yourself? That's an asset, because you can't ask for someone to come into the relationship with good credit and then your credit is jacked up. You right. can't ask for someone to come in, I want a man who has his own house, his own car, and blah, 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 and you living with your mama, and vice versa. A man living in the basement of his parents' house saying, you know, I want a woman that got her own, like Neo's song, a woman that got her own, but yet you don't have your own and you want someone to work with you. I always talk about this, and even with my life coaching clients, but way before that, I often talk about community service. What is community service? Every woman does community service. We dust the men off, we get them all clean, we wash them down, you know, we teach him, we grow him, we learn him up in the world, and, you know, make him this beautiful dude. And then if it doesn't work out, then that's community service for the next woman. So
are you calling us a whip? Are you calling us men whips?
No, I'm saying, because you know, we already know from when you were on the relationship show that women have a huge influence on men.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. That's absolutely true. And Steve Harvey said, and I'm not one to quote Steve Harvey at all. Trust me.
Thank you for saying that, prefacing that with that.
Because but some of the things that he said, but a lot of the things, and I would gander to say most of the things that we as men do, we do them for women. We do it for the attention of women. We do it for gaining women. That's just being real. You know what I'm saying? So we really do. But that's kind of what we do, and I think women do that on the same realm too. For men, they do things that are geared towards having that man or that relationship that they want, so that they can have the life that they want to live in too.
So I think it's so important, and that's why I said with the men, because a lot of the onus is on women often. Like saying, you know, you're asking for a good man, you're asking for Sierra's prayer, you know, online they say, well, what is Sierra's prayer?
Okay.
What is the prayer? What was that exact prayer to get a man like that? You know, you often hear, you know, the woman. But I challenge you to say, well, what about the men? Do men say, okay, this is what I bring to the table, this is what I have to offer, or this is the type of woman I want, and I'm that person? Is it the same with men? Because I believe that both have to be ready when their prayers come, if they come.
It's funny you say that, and I would say, honestly, yes. I mean, I know that's my thinking, and the majority of the guys that I am, you know, that I'm around and stuff like that, that's one of the things that we have an understanding on, is that you have to have something to bring to the table. You know, you can't just want somebody and expect them to, you know, to be a certain way, do certain things, and offer something, and you're not offering. Most of us are saying, well, what does she have to offer? You know what I'm saying? Right. Because we talk about, like,
man, because some of the men have a table. Talking about bring to the table, could you just bring the table? Can you bring the table?
Right.
And then we can see what we can put on this table.
And on the table, absolutely. And I think that those are the conversations that men and women don't have together, and that's why I like what you do with bringing men and women together to have those conversations, to have a clear understanding that look, everybody needs to be able to bring something to the table, or like Tyler Perry said, I'm gonna bring my own table. I ain't worried
Right.
about what somebody else
Table.
said, because I
Right.
know I have a table. I have a table because it's what I'm working for. So that when I do meet someone, and I have someone in my life, I know that there are things that I want, and there may be things that I want to be able to give to someone, or be able to have someone to be able to have as a part of being connected with me and being with me. So that should be, to me, that should be the mindset of both men and women. Women should say, look, this is these are things that I bring to the
Yeah.
table, but I want my man to be able to enjoy what it is that I bring to the table, and men should do the same thing. This is what I bring to the table, but this is what I want my woman to be able to enjoy as a result of what I bring to the table. And when you do, to me, when you do that, I think it bodes well for the relationship. Not when you have one thinking in one way, and then you have one thinking in the other. And I think, unfortunately, that's where that's where our society is today. They either have this really bad idea of what relationships are, and they're just like, look, I don't even want a relationship because I know how bad people, men or women are. Or they're on the totally other end, where they think that the man is supposed to do and bring everything to the relationship, and they're supposed to just, and I know ladies gonna get mad at this. They think that they are supposed to just sit there and look pretty, or they feel as if they're entitled to just have to do nothing. I mean,
Uh-oh.
yeah, believe it or not, because
Uh-oh.
you have a lot of women that think that they're not supposed to take their man out, that they're not supposed to pay for anything, that he's supposed to pay all of the bills. And you have some men that think that too. And I'm just like, this miseducation of
So they
what
want to be kept. So
yeah,
thinking,
this miseducation
no,
of
go ahead. No, I want you to
relationships.
finish.
No, just saying that there's this miseducation of relationships that we have out there, that the younger generation, and even the older generation, needs to understand, and renew their mind in the way that they're thinking. Because it's to me, it's just not, to me, it's not a clear thinking of the way that relationships should be. But that's just my opinion on it. So.
Okay. You just made a powerful point right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it needs to be examined because you said both men and women. First, let me just back up. I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. You were saying that some women basically want to be kept. They
Mm-hmm.
don't want to go out there and bring home the bacon. They have the old fashioned sense of, the man is supposed to be the hunter, the man is the provider. You're going to take care of me, and I can sit back eating bonbons and popping, you know, fruit drinks all day,
Right.
and I don't have to do anything. And I wait for you to come home, bring me the check, bring me the money, and I don't have anything going on of my own.
Right.
I just want to address that part first.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with you in a lot of different ways, and then disagree
Mm-hmm.
because if I believe, let me start with what agree with. I believe that a woman should have something of her own. I believe she needs to have some talents, a business, goals, things that she wants to achieve and accomplish. I think that she should have that. So she can be a whole person. And so she can bring all of that energy because that's sexy to a man. When a woman got her own and a woman is doing her thing, that's sexy to a man. If a woman is just sitting there doing nothing, has no motivation, that's unattractive to some men. Then on the flip side, I will say is if those two agree that, hey, the man is going to be the breadwinner and you don't have to do anything and sit there all day and look pretty and wait for me to come home, cook, clean, then I think that that's that contract between those two people. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why communication is so important when you meet somebody. to say, hey, you know, what's your ideas on relationships and a woman's place and a man's place, if they have places? Do you believe in traditional roles? Do you believe in whoever's stronger or better at this does this? Like, what are your beliefs? And I often say that people swap spit, meaning kissing and having intimate relationships, but they don't swap information. They don't have the conversations, the hard conversations that need to.
You just said something right there. You just said something right there. And it's unfortunate that people don't get to know each other before they get to know each other. You know what I mean? They too quick to get to know each other before they get to know each other, and then wind up saying, "Wow!" Then they want to wind up saying, "Well, this person is, you know, she crazy, and he this way." Well, did you take the time to get to know that person? And I've always
said that they test the car, but they're not concerned about if that car got some gas in it. Can you afford this car? You get what I'm saying? But they want to just
on that car.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people unfortunately don't. They unfortunately they look at the exterior of a person. Oh, they're attractive. Oh, they, you know, they this, they that, as opposed to saying, what is their character? You know, what is their character? Who are they on the inside? And I've always said this, that you need to know somebody through all four seasons. You need to know them through the good, bad, the ugly, and, you know, and everything in between, because it will give you an example of how they will handle situations, how they'll handle situations, circumstances, all of those things. So you need to know what they'll do in good times, what they do in bad times, how they handle money. You know what I'm saying? All of those things fall into that, and understanding, is this somebody that I want to be with? And I tell people too that they can, you know, somebody can only hide who they are for a certain length of time, and before their true character, the character are just those foundational things that people don't, that doesn't change in a person.
Right.
You know,
the essence they are.
Yeah, those things don't change, and somebody may be able to hide them if they are, you know, if they're a manipulative person. They can hide bad things for a certain period of time, but the natural person of who you are is going to eventually show. It's just you can't get around that, because your true character will come out, and people have to understand that. So that means you have to have, like you said, you have to have those conversations. You have to ask the questions, you know, ask the right questions, you know, because you I know you, like me, you watch some of these court shows, and you watch some of the stuff that's out here, and you be like, what in the world was this person? How did they not, you know, how did they not know this, or how did they not know that, or how did they not ask this, and how did they not ask that, or why they even still, you know, why did they go 3 years still being with this person, knowing that they did this, and this before? And those are the kinds of things that people have to understand, that yes, if you ask the right questions, trust me, people will tell you everything you need to know. You know,
that's and to listen. That's why I said, if you listen long enough, you'll find out everything you need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. You truly will. Because and if they even the not answering will tell you what you need to know. Because if you can't answer something, you know, transparently or truthfully, then that tells me a whole lot about you.
Yeah. Or you're not willing to, or say, oh, you know, you don't need to know that. You'll learn that in time. You don't need to know, you know, because I think that both people, if you want to be in a relationship, then you have to be flat-footed in that relationship, and nothing should be off limits. Nothing should be off the table. Let's put everything on this table that you brought, he or she, whoever brought the table. Let's put everything out on this table and really speak, especially as you get older. You know what I mean? You don't have time to waste, have time to play. Even if you're 20, you don't got time to waste and time to play. But you want to be able to be upfront and honest, and not allow sex to be the catalyst of the relationship because somebody got a big old booty, or somebody you could see the print in their pants, or they're tall or they're short or they're this or they're that. All of that, yes, you have to be attracted to the person. Something about that person
Right.
should be able to appeal to you, whether it's the way they look or their intelligence or their humor, something. But it has to go deeper. You have to go past that first layer of people,
Right.
because people are going to show you who they want you to see at first. And if you don't ask questions or you're afraid, oftentimes I talk to women, they're like, I can't ask that. I said, but you can lay in the bed with him butt
Hello.
naked and he can
Hello.
see all of your glory, but you can't have this conversation with him.
Wow. Yep.
So you can kiss him, which is something that's extremely intimate, especially because of COVID, but even before COVID, even before COVID, it's like you can have these passionate, intimate moments with someone. I did a poem years ago called Open Legs, Closed Heart.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
And I should, as you're talking, I'm gonna try to look for it and read
Okay.
that.
Okay.
But I think that that's how people think. Well, I don't want to get that close, or I don't want to do this. I just need to get mine, blah, 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 blah. But yet the other part of their heart wants someone who's compassionate, who's loving, who, you know, who can be this, this, and this, or whatever it is. But the problem that I often hear, and it drives me crazy, he completes me. She completes me. I'm a half and he's a half and we're whole together. And it's like, you got to be 100 or 100. That person got to be 100. And then you come together and you're maybe 200. You're together in that way. No one should complete you. And then I also hear women say this. I literally heard someone say this and I wanted to jump out of a building in a single bound. I wanted to rescue her. She said, I'd rather have a piece of man than no man at all. I was like, stop.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go deeper. And she said, because all men are the same, they're this, they're that. It's always going to be something with some men. So I would rather have a man. So it's like, okay, you will downgrade yourself. You will accept foolishness and nonsense just to say, I'm not single.
Yep.
You know, so the thing is, really, ladies, I just want to tell you, date yourself. Find out what you like. Fall in love with yourself. When you do that, you are going to attract that man that is for you. You're not going to have to go out and search for him. But like Leroy says, you have to be ready when they come. Right, Leroy?
Absolutely. I mean, we've got to do the work on ourselves. You know, we've got to do the work on ourselves so that when that person does come along to us and presents themselves to us, we can we can one recognize them, but then two, we can say to ourselves, this is what I'm prepared to offer to you. And like I said, I mean, I know the ladies don't like to hear this, and it's something that I hear so much today in society that it's as if and I ask my buddies this too, but it's as if they don't have to do anything. They don't have to bring anything to the table. When you talk to I know just from what I've seen, and people may get mad and everything else, but what I've seen is a lot of women, they talk about what men have to bring, but they don't talk about the things that what they bring. Or if they do have something, they want to be braggadocious about it. Well, I got this, and I got 2 degrees, and and I'm this, and I got
Yeah.
I got 5 cars. Okay. And I remember, here we go again. This is the second time I done had to bring up his name in my talking, and I can't be doing that. But
Hey,
Steve
come
Harvey,
on, Leroy.
but he had one of his producers. I remember it was an episode I happened to see, but he had one of his producers that was a female, and she had been having trouble finding finding a good man or whatever. So Steve does the hookup thing sometimes or whatever. He's
Yeah.
done the hookup thing. So
Because he hooked
he had
the Bailey, Mike Hill. And they just got married, so he hooked them up.
Say it again.
He hooked up Mike Hill and Cynthia Bailey. Steve Harvey did. They met on the show, model and housewife Cynthia Bailey.
Oh, maybe if I saw her face, but I
you
don't know.
trust me, when you see her, you can be like, oh, her.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, matter of fact, that name sounded familiar because it was somebody that I think Bow Wow did. He was doing an interview, and it was one of the first girls that Jermaine Dupri had introduced him to. This was back. This was back in the day.
Oh, okay,
This was
okay.
back in the day, I guess, before she, became a supermodel and everything like that. But he was hooking up his one of his producers, female producers, and she, I guess, in the midst of the conversation that they were having on the show, he was saying, you said that that you had this, you had 2 degrees, and it was hard for you to find a man, and this, that, and the other, and the men that he hooked her, that she had to choose from, each of them had like 2 degrees. I mean, the brothers had it going on. They had the 2 degrees. They were intelligent, and I mean the whole nine and all of that stuff. And Steve Harvey sat back and said, "Now what you gonna do?" He said, because she couldn't use that to say as it, okay, here's somebody that is, I guess, equally in the same, that was doing some of the same things as far as educational wise and intellectually wise and everything like that. So when somebody's bringing that to the table, now what? And a lot of times when we get into these relationship conversations, they want to go to the one extreme or the other. The brother either doesn't have all of this, or the sister doesn't have all of that, and those kinds of things, as opposed to saying, you know what, I'm going to worry about, like you said, I'm going to worry about who I am. If I can deal with who I am first, then I can, I will start to have I will start to, I think, bring into my sphere or my circle the kind of people that I am looking to have a relationship with. Because truth be told, if you have a certain mindset, you only hang and you only do certain things. You only do certain things, you hang out with certain people, and you're in a certain, in a certain circle. So if I'm looking for someone who I says I want this is almost like business. When we talk about your target audience, if I know my target audience is in a certain area, then what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to be in that area where I know that my target audience is. So if I'm looking for a certain kind of relationship, then I have to put myself into those areas where I know people, the majority of the people are going to be that want those same things.
Yeah. Now, I think a lot of ladies are going to be like, what is Leroy talking about? Men talk about this, but this is the thing, like, this is the time that you do have to listen, because we aren't privy to the conversations that men have and the women that men come across. Okay. So we know our friends and we know us. So we can say, okay, well, no, none of my friends feel like they got to sit around and do nothing. They all do this, and this. But if he's saying that he and his friends are getting together and they're finding that this is a common thread, then it's a common thread. Now, it may not be you and your friends or you and your family, but there are women out here that they're encountering. You said that they just want to be taken care of. They want to sit back and allow the man to, I guess, handle the financial load. Is that what we're speaking about?
It's not even just that. I could go on my news feed right now, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Instagram, and you can find a post where it's talking about relationships in some way, shape, or form, some kind of way. And some of the time, this is where I see the responses, and just looking at the responses of women and seeing how they answer certain things. And a lot of that is that where he's
like,
supposed
I need a man to take care of me. I need a man to do all this stuff.
And it's not even a thing them saying that to take care of me. And here's one of the discussions that people get. They get in, they get all upset about or whatever when I say this, when they talk about dating, and people ask the question of who should pay for the first date. And and some of the guys responded, but the majority of the women responded, of course, the man should pay for the first date. The man should pay for the first date. And majority of the time that's going to be true, because the majority of the time most men are doing the asking. You know, they're the one that's asking the woman out and everything like that. So that's fine. That's kind of gonna happen. I said, but at the same time, a lot of women get upset.
So let's pause. What do you think about that? Let's talk about that. So
No,
do you think that men should pay for the first date? If he asks a woman out, do you think that he should pay for that date?
yeah, absolutely. If he asks her out, absolutely. But
So if she
here's the
asks him
thing.
out, is she supposed to pay if she asks him out?
Absolutely, she's supposed to ask
Okay.
him out. But the majority of the time, you have men who are asking women out. Very few women ask men out. I promise you. At
Mm.
least 90%, maybe even 95% of the time, the asking is done by the men.
See,
So
I might be one of those women, Leroy, because I do believe on that first date that the man should pay. I am
mhm,
old fashioned like that. I do believe that. Now, if I'm in a relationship with you, then I don't feel like everything should fall on the man. I feel like I have to do my part as well. And I
right,
can pay for
right,
lunch, I could pay for dinner, I could pay for this. But I think if in dating, if a man asks you out, then he should pay. Now, if a
absolutely.
man was pursuing you, and you finally said, yes, we can go out, and just telling him that, I still think on that first date that he should pay. Now, some women will agree with me and some will be like, no, I'm a feminist, or I believe that equal rights, and that's that line that some people have. And it also goes with kind of like age as well. Like millennials are like, you don't have to pay, possibly, because they might still be traditional as well, whatever traditional means.
Well, I
So,
mean, but I think also too. I think when it comes to, of course, to me, whoever asks should pay. But
okay, fair.
the majority, like I said, the majority of the time, most men are going to be the ones that's going to be asking, because most women, if you would have asked them, if they would have asked to approach a guy, they're going to be like, no, I don't. I'm not approaching
Even
a guy.
now, even now.
Even now, I'm telling you, I believe at
So if
least
they see
eight
a
out of
guy that they
ten.
like, see, you're telling me, because I thought that in this day and age, if you see a cutie over there, you might say, hey,
I'm going.
some women might.
I'm going to say 8 out of 10 women would not ask that guy out if they thought he was cute. They would not say anything
I've
they
heard
would not
that.
approach him.
I
They
can see
wouldn't. And
I can see that, because I've heard women say, I'm not approaching no guy.
right,
I'm not asking a guy. I'm the lady. He needs
right.
to ask
Come to
me.
me.
I've
He
heard.
needs to be at right. He
Yeah,
needs to pursue me. But
yeah.
my thing has always been, and this is just me and the way that I am. I've never had an issue with a woman approaching me. I'm like, shoot,
Okay.
that lets me know, hey, that takes all of the guessing out of it for me, because because I'm like, okay. And here's the thing too, and
Okay.
you tell me if this is true. All right. Because I had a friend of mine tell me this years ago, and you all do the approaching without approaching one, but y'all do,
That's true.
because
That's
y'all will give
true.
us a look. Y'all will
That's
give us a
true.
little some. It's something that we have to be paying attention to
Yeah.
in order to be able to catch it. So
Oh,
you all are doing it without doing it,
yeah.
without doing it. But she said this to me years
Because it's
ago.
ladylike to do it that way. That's what we're taught. It's ladylike to bat an eye, or to that come hither look. It's not ladylike to say, yo, I
Oh,
want you.
see, no, because she said this, and you tell me if this is true. And I started watching movies, and I was like, dang it, if she's not right. She said this to me. She said, Leroy, women will give you a look that will let you know that she is interested, that she is into
Yeah.
you. She said,
Yeah.
it's just, she said, if you look at a movie, if you look at those romantic comedies or romantic movies, there's always a look that you will see that a woman gives a man. And I started going through, like, whenever I would start watching movies and I noticed things, I was like, darn, she is sure enough right. But you have to pay attention to it. as a man, you have to pay attention to it, because there's a couple of movies, and I know you love this movie too, so I know you'll get it. In Love Jones,
Yeah.
there's a part in the movie where Nia Long, she's walking out of the record store. He
Nina,
had
yep.
just he had just asked her out. And she was like, "No, the timing is all red. It's
Yeah.
all wrong, and this, that, and the other." She's walking out of the
Yeah.
record store, and she looks back. She looks back, and I was like, "There it is." I was like,
Yeah.
"There." I was like, "There it
Yeah.
is." That's that look.
Yeah.
Now, of course, he couldn't see it, but there's a look that you all have that lets a man, that shows us that you like, wow, this guy's really, I could see something with him and everything
Yeah.
like that. So I was like, yeah, but we've got to be attentive to it. We've got to be
Yeah.
attentive to it. So as men to understand that. But like you were saying, as far as the dating, yes, I get it. We men are gonna, more than likely pay for that first date.
Because a woman wants to feel like a lady. Like a lot of women want to feel like women. And a lot of women don't want to be, when you're talking about heterosexual relationships, don't want to be the man in the relationship.
Mhm.
Sometimes women are forced to be the man if they're the head of the man, if they're the head of the household, if they're single parents, if they're the breadwinners, what have you. So they already
But
feel that testosterone, excuse me. So when a man comes in, women want to be treated delicately and treated like a woman and a lady, and opening the doors, holding the umbrella, taking care of the tab, whatever that is, and some women may not, but that's what I was taught, and that's how I feel. I'm not saying that I will never, marry now, but never approach a man. But
no, but
even when I was doing online dating, right? And
mhm.
I did online dating even back when AOL was a thing. Hello, the chat room. I did. I was like one of the first that ever did it, and through the different changes of online dating,
Okay.
most of the time men would flood, and women know about this, men be flooding them inboxes in online dating. But if I saw a cutie, I might say hello. That's an
Mhm.
approach. If we were matched, I might be the first to say, hey, how you doing? Or something like that. Does that count?
Yeah, I mean, because that's still approaching. But what
Mm,
that does is that lets him know that you are interested. Just like if
okay.
he were to approach you, it lets him know. I mean, lets you know that
Yeah.
he's interested. Now let
Yeah.
me let me ask you this, and I'm gonna take you into your marriage.
Okay. Can I just
And this,
ask you one question before you get to that?
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So the misconception for men, ladies, is that they don't want to feel wanted. They don't want to feel pursued. They don't want to feel attractive. Just like you want to feel attractive and you want a man to say, hey, you're cute, you're fine, you're sexy, whatever word they use, or you look nice. A man wants to hear that too, because they're people too. And a lot of times women think that they're supposed to hear it all the time, and the man doesn't want to hear it. Is that true?
And you right up where I was going, because
Okay.
that is exactly true. But you don't get a lot of women, and I'm not saying, I mean, you get a lot of women that don't do that, and that goes into what I was going to ask you about your marriage. Just like you want your husband to tell you, "Oh, I love you. You look great today. You're beautiful. This, that, and the other." That's the same way that he wants to feel as well. Just like he takes you out, let's say he takes you out, let you all have may have date night,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever day it is, it's like, okay, instead of him always having to be the one to pick out what y'all gonna do, where y'all gonna go, all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
he expect or should expect or want from you to do the same thing. Now, baby,
I
I got right where you all kind of flip flop or take turns doing it. It's
I
like,
agree.
I prepared it. I prepared what our date night was going to be this week. You do
Yeah.
it you do it the
But then
next
the
week.
women a lot of times get held holding that bag too. Like in some relationships, even if I go through my past, I've had men who've done
Mhm.
it,
Right.
and then I've done it.
Hmm.
If you go through and think about it, and then I've had one friend, she's been married for like 20 years. Her husband does absolutely no planning. She has to plan everything. And I hear a lot of women talk about that. But I find it interesting what you just said. On the flip side, you feel like probably like the man has to come up with the ideas and the woman sits back and just says, just tell me when to be ready type thing.
Well, and I will say this, and I'll be honest, I do believe there are a lot of men, a lot of men that I call them lazy because you should be. That's just what it is. What it is. They're lazy and they don't want to. They don't want to continue to date if they're, especially if they're married. Continue to date your wife. That should go both ways. Ladies, continue to date your husband. Those things that you all did in the beginning that you saw with them, those should be the same things that you continue to do in your marriage relationship, because what it does is it keeps the relationship going. You should always be trying to find creative ways to, whether it's surprise her, to be able to make her feel, make her feel wanted, like you said. And she should be doing the same thing, making you feel wanted. I mean, I tell guys this all.
This is why you got all these women approaching you, because you talking like this.
No,
that's not.
I'm
woman is like, tell him, Leroy.
I'm just saying that, to me, this stuff isn't rocket science, and I've always felt this way, and I've always felt that women deserve to be treated a certain way, but I also believe that we as men should be treated a certain way too. And when you put those expectations on the same level, when we just talked about bringing to the table, hey, I'm going to expect you to do not exactly, but I'm going to expect you to do the same things that I do. If I make you feel wanted, I expect you to make me feel wanted. I'm not doing this one way thing.
But you're right though. You're right. You're absolutely, Leroy. I agree with you 100%, because a lot of women feel like it's just me. It's about me. Show me, show me. And they expect the man, but then they're not doing it in reverse.
Right.
So, but how does that make a man feel when they're the ones planning everything, buying the flowers, buying the gifts, buying the dinner, texting or calling, telling the woman they love you, you're initiating sex, you're doing everything, and then that woman that you talked about is not doing anything? What does that feel like as a man?
To me, it's frustrating. I think it can make you feel as if you're the one that's always giving and not, and not receiving. And when it gets to that point in a relationship where you are the one that is always giving, where you find yourself always giving. I don't care in what capacity, whether it's financially, emotionally, all of those things. If you're the only one giving in that relationship, to me, honestly, that's not a relationship. Because that person isn't a relationship. To me is a back and forth.
It's a beneficiary of the thing. It's not
I'm like, no, we can't. And that was, that can be that can be a frustrating thing. It can be I won't say demoralizing, but it can just make you feel as if, what, this person doesn't even care. And to a certain extent, they don't care if they're not reciprocating it, or and not even making you feel appreciated for doing what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And to me, it doesn't take a lot.
Yeah.
And I hope, ladies, if y'all listening, it does not take a lot to make a man feel like it. I mean, you want to see a man stick his chest out, make him feel appreciated. Just like, baby.
How do you do that? So how do you do that? So some woman right now is being prepared for their husband. They want to be ready because you asked the question, are you ready when they come? So this is a way to help women get ready. You have a man on here saying, this is what it is. I don't mind picking up the tab. I want you to do something. I want to be, I want it to be a partnership. I want it to be a give and a take. I give, You take, I take, you give. It's mutual, a mutual exchange. They don't want it to just go one-sided. Leroy is telling you that. He's also telling you that he speaks to men and they have these kind of conversations. So he's not talking about just one woman. Clearly, there are several women who feel this way. And one of the women might be listening right now. And one might be single, like, you know what? I'm going to prepare myself. I prayed for this. I wanted this. I spoke this into existence. I manifested. I'm manifesting the man and the life that I want. What are those things that those women can do to be prepared? You said that the women have to appreciate the man, and the man has to feel appreciated. What else can they do to prepare themselves for when that king comes?
Well, I think here's just a couple of simple things. Like we talked about the dating aspect, the asking out. Yes, he asked you out. That's cool. He's gonna pay for the dinner. And you can say, well, I'll take care of the tip. And he may just say no. He may say, no, I got it.
Okay, so if a man says
offering.
no, okay, now let's pause. So if a man says no, should that woman persist, and should they have a no, pushing it back and forth? Should they
she doesn't have to. No, you don't have to argue about it. But the to me, sometimes it's just even the offering of paying the tip.
But see, sometimes women offer that. Sometimes women offer that in hopes that the guy says no.
I know. Now, see, you can't be playing. Yeah, you can't be playing games.
Right? Be like, okay, you got that.
You can't be playing games. You better be ready to pay for it if you go off it. But that starts it off. But even once you get into the dating process, the dating, just something as simple as and ladies, these are things that you all like to have done to you all. Sending a simple text saying, hey, just thinking about you, have a great day. You leave it at that. Mm-hmm. Or just telling a brother that he looks handsome. I ain't saying it's some of these brothers out here that need to step their dress their game up. I ain't even gonna lie. Wearing these slides and just being in a t-shirt and all that. No, bro. You need to throw on a shirt and tie sometimes. You need to be in a pair of nice dress shoes and going somewhere where you have to dress up. And where she can give you, or she give balance. You, just a compliment. Give you a compliment. Hey, you look nice today. Just like if he were to tell you that. These are things that you like to do too. Or like we talked about, once you're in the relationship, it's like, hey, but I made reservations for us to go here, go out to dinner, or even cook a dinner. You know what I'm saying? Cook a dinner at home. Oh, I'll fix something for us. Just
and
something.
Vice versa, men. Let me tell y'all right now, for all the men out there that don't know how to turn on a stove, an oven, a toaster oven, an air fryer, you gotta put in that work. You can't say I don't cook, because now with YouTube University, if you get an air fryer, let me tell you something, men out there that don't cook, they say they don't cook. Right. Invest in an air fryer, period. So, or a crock pot, period. So, and then go find, because it's about taking initiative. We can no longer say, this is not what we do. We don't do this. I don't do this. Now, in this day and age, you can learn how to do anything. So you get you an air fryer, you get you a crock pot, you get you some recipes offline, you go on YouTube and you make that meal for that woman. No woman should have to cook every single day if she does not choose to. Because if both of you are eating, like Leroy talked about, even exchange, unless that was a deal that you made. You might do all the cooking because you enjoy cooking, and he might do all the cleaning because he doesn't mind busting suds and getting those dishes together. But it's about what that union has. That's why, or what they want for themselves and their relationship, that mission statement for that relationship. So then that's why communication is important. Because if you think that somebody's going to make your meals, man or woman, all day, if you think they're going to wash your dirty drawers and you're going to do this and they're going to do that and all of these expectations, they're going to meet me at the car, they're going to take out the trash, they're going to do, you got to ask yourself, okay, if they're going to do all of that, what am I going to do?
Absolutely. And I mean, the relationships are just, they're not difficult if you communicate. Like you said, if
Mm-hmm.
we have an open line of communication with each other, and we express to each other what our expectations are, then there's
Mm-hmm.
no guessing. There's no, oh, we didn't, you're going to do this or I'm going to do that. You already know what my responsibilities are in the relationship. If I'm supposed to take out the trash, then it's my responsibility that
Yeah.
when the trash needs to be taken out, then it gets taken out. If I'm the one that
Yeah.
says that I'm going to do the cooking, then yes, I will do the cooking. Doesn't mean I want to do it all the time, you
Right.
know, but it does mean that, yeah, the majority of the time, yeah, I'm going to be the one that's cooking. If I'm better at the money, then then she is, then of course I'm gonna take care of the money. Just like
That's right.
if she better with the money, then yeah, I want you taking care of the money, because that's something I know that is not my strong suit.
Yeah.
And we have to understand what each of our strengths are, what each of our weaknesses are,
Yeah.
and we got to be
Agreed.
real with ourselves about that when it
Yeah.
comes to the relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, and it doesn't hurt, folks. It doesn't hurt, ladies. It doesn't hurt, men, to pitch in. It's a relationship, so you
Yeah.
should be
It's a
wanting to do
union.
things. Yeah,
Right.
and we were supposed to make things easier, better for each other.
Yes.
If it isn't, to me, that's one of the purposes, one of the reasons that God created woman. He saw that man couldn't do everything for
Come
himself
on.
by himself. That's why he created Eve, so
Yeah.
that
We had to
so that
come and rescue y'all. We had to
oh,
come. God was like, you know what? Making this man right here, he ain't gonna last long. Let me come on. Come on. We gonna need an Eve. We gonna need a woman because this man right here, he ain't gonna last long.
so and folks, if somebody is all about themselves, and they're the ones consistently taking in a relationship, then it's not a relationship, and you
Yeah.
need to move on. I mean, let's be real,
Yeah.
and that's for men and women.
Yeah.
Women, y'all should not be with a dude
Yeah.
that is honestly, that's consistently, or all the way, taken from you, because you got some brothers
Yeah.
out here that are, that are living off of their women and
They
aren't
go from
doing.
woman
Yeah,
to woman. They go from woman
right,
to woman, and that woman's taken care of. I've seen guys like that.
yeah,
I know somebody who had a guy like that,
mm-hmm,
where she found out that he was living with someone else,
mm-hmm,
and he was staying with her. She thought that she was picking him up from his house, but
mm-hmm.
it was another woman's house he
Women's
was
house.
staying at.
Wow.
Then he had another woman for this, another woman for
Mm-hmm.
that. It was crazy. It was almost like a movie. But
Wow.
sometimes you do have, we talked about women doing the taking. Sometimes you have men who sees a good thing and then they take.
Right.
So it has to be balanced. And if you don't ask questions, you'll be surprised, Leroy, how many women don't ask men when they meet them if they have a wife or a girlfriend.
Mm,
They will
mm.
just say, well, he didn't have a ring on. Yeah, because he might be allergic to jewelry. It doesn't mean that he's not, but so many don't. And then they go talking to the man, and then a woman calls them, or they find out that they have someone. You'll be surprised how many. Do men ask a woman if they're married or if they have a boyfriend? Do men ask that question?
I mean, like you said, they should. That should be one of the first things you asking somebody. You got a man?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And then they'd
Like
be
what?
positive, K. What your man got to do with me?
Right. What you what your man got to do with me? but
You
but yeah,
that?
if you're not asking that question, then
Yeah,
you either don't want to know the answer to it,
right.
and you ain't
Or
worried
you don't.
about it. Yeah, you don't care whether they got a man or not, and that's a whole nother story.
Yeah,
That is a whole nother story with that. So,
yeah.
but let's get into the other video that we watched the other day
Oh
that
yes,
you
yes,
told me about.
yes.
I
Let
definitely want to
me.
talk about that before we get out of here. But
Yes, yes,
that
yes.
was a good
Let.
that was a good it was a good, and I don't know if they pre-plan some of that stuff, if it's thought out or what they're going to talk
Yeah,
about, but I thought it was great. I thought it was
yeah,
a good conversation piece. So
yeah. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to do that in part 2. We're going to give them about 10 minutes of part 2. So we're going to end this one, and then we're going to come back. So of course, Leroy, when Leroy and I speak, it's going to be a part 2. So this is the conclusion of part 1 of If You Really Want It, you got to be prepared and you got to be ready. So join us for part 2. Thank you so much for tuning in to, I was going to say Shine, my podcast, Kendell Lenice Live, right here on YouTube. Do me a favor and subscribe below. It's so important that you subscribe below and hit the notification button. So when it's uploaded, you're able to see it first. So join us for part 2. Thank you for watching. God bless.